Amen. Today, the 17th Sunday after Pentecost, I'm going to once again take a look at the opening prayer of the Mass, the collect of the Mass. And today we've got something unusual. First off, it's a very short collect, even shorter than last week's, which was a short one. But we've got something that fits in extremely well today with one particular word. And it's not exactly translated the same in all the missals that I was able to check. In the big missal that I have in front of me, the hardcover missals that we normally have in the pews, that we don't because of the coronavirus at this particular time, this is the way that it reads. Grant thy people, we beseech thee, O Lord, to shun the defilements of the devil, and with pure hearts to follow thee, the only God. That is a beautiful prayer, but it's not exactly the way I would translate it today. There's a particular passage in there, two particular words, diabólico vitare, that they translate here as defilements of the devil. But when you take, diabólico vitare Contagio. I forgot the Contagio. That makes all the difference in the world. They have Contagio, which is, as you know, cognate in English to contagious. They put that as defilements. Other places that I checked said withstand the temptations of the devil, avoid the defilements of the devil, and shun the wiles of the devil. But then two of them put it this way: to avoid the contagions of the devil and to avoid the diabolical contagion. I think contagion or contagious is much more appropriate for us today, because this is what we're asking. First off, it acknowledges that there is only one true God. And today we have made too many other men our God. We have people that will listen to Dr. Fauci, for instance, and just as one instance, as if he is God himself. And it doesn't matter that he contradicts himself on a regular basis. He is God, and they will do whatever he says. And it is shown. We've got the World Health Organization, which is a god. The CDC is a god. You name it, every one of these health organizations is a god. And the people are glued to their television set. They're glued to the newspaper or their computer screen, and they're reading constantly about how many deaths. Big headline, deaths, deaths, deaths. But they don't put anything in context whatsoever, like, for instance, how many deaths there were by car accident today, or yesterday, or the last week. There's all this stuff about a contagion that's in this world. And we are so absolutely petrified of this one particular contagion that the people who are telling us how to avoid the contagion are gods themselves. And we will do anything they want, no matter how damaging it is to our very beings. We will lock up Grandma in the nursing home and never see her again and let her die of loneliness. And we think that's a good thing. Somehow there's nothing wrong with that. We will make sure that nobody gets the last rites in a hospital, because it is a horrible thing that a priest should go in and perhaps bring a disease, a virus, to somebody who is going to die of something else anyway. Oh, what a horrible thing that is. And of course, we don't even care whether the priest has the contagion in order to bring it in to give that contagion to the person who's going to die anyway. We don't care, because none of the men or organizations that I mentioned give a hoot about people's souls. They are worried about a virus, a contagion here in this world. And you would think that the church would be standing up and saying there's something a lot worse than a contagion out there. But the church has not been willing to do that. By and large, the church members, the members of the hierarchy, and certainly the people following them, have all been petrified to a place where they are impotent. They can do nothing. They're paralyzed. They are so filled with fear. Of what? Of dying. And yet, what do? While they're filled with fear, mankind, in its fallen human nature, when they've got a false god, when they're afraid of death in this world, when they're told to lock up, when they're told to avoid social contact, what do? We turn to false social contacts. We turn to false gods. we turn to the devil himself. I want you to think about what we've been going through and then take a look at the contagion, not of a virus, but the contagion of the devil, as we're asking in this opening prayer to be done with it. How many men, how many women, how many, God help them, little children have become addicted or more so to immorality because they've been locked in their room with a computer or a television set. The devil has gotten into their very houses. They're so enthralled with this demonic contagion of pornography that they won't even call it that because they can find it on Netflix or Hulu or HBO, and certainly it's got to be okay if it's on those. They're not looking in something dark and hidden. They're looking at what everybody else is looking at, what everybody else is paying for, and then they start acting on their own because they're missing human contact. They fake it with themselves. This is a demonic, diabolical contagion that is going through this entire country, perhaps through the entire world. And we don't care. We're being encouraged. And because we've put these men up as false gods, we've bowed down to them. We've been encouraged to get into this situation where we don't do anything right and we do everything evil. How many people have not been to church? I know it's none of you because I'm talking to you right now face to face, but how many people have not been to church for 6 months now? Ever since the churches were first locked down. What a horrible thing to even say. The churches were locked down. No masses virtually throughout the entire world. No public masses. The people told the contagion of a virus is more important than your soul. The holy sacrifice of the Mass will be offered hidden as if it's somehow dirty while you stay hidden in your room doing dirty things. And the people have stayed away in droves. We just got something from the bishop this week, from his pastoral council, the diocesan group of priests that go along with him to tell him what to do, to encourage him in various ways, the ones who give him counsel. And he told them something in the minutes that were sent out to us, that right now in this diocese, the average parish has 30% of the parishioners attending Mass as they did in January. 30%. The contagion of a virus and the way that the church has responded has driven that many people away. And they have stayed away. And many will never come back. Because they look and they say, if the church is more worried about my human body than about my human soul, the body that will die anyway at some time of something versus the soul that will live forever. If the church doesn't care about the eternal life, then I don't care about the church. We're asking today in this prayer to save us from diabolical contagion. We have a contagion going on right now that nobody wants to admit, and yet it is out there and it is going full force. Custody of the eyes means nothing at this point. People don't even know what it means to look the other way, to not be looking at improper images. Right now, how many people have been spending time at home where they're even joking about it? It's become a stereotype about how much weight they put on because gluttony has become one of those diabolical contagions. What would happen if you saw the world the way God sees the world, and if he took the place of the World Health Organization or the CDC? What if he was the one in charge and saying, look at the contagion that's out there. I'm going to lock you all down. Where would he lock you? Not in your house, but in his house. He would say, until we get this contagion, this diabolical contagion under control, everybody go to the church and get down on your knees. Pull out your rosary. Watch and listen and learn as the Mass goes on, as the prayers of the Stations of the Cross are prayed, as the chaplets of divine mercy are chanted. Come to the church and be locked down and talk to me and beg me for mercy and ask me to heal you. And 2 weeks is all I'm asking, just like we were told. 2 weeks will flatten the curve. Imagine him saying that. Right now, there are too many people going to hell. It's overwhelming the gates right now. Too many people, they can't all get in. We'll flatten the curve. And at the end of 2 weeks, he said, no, we're dragging it out longer. Because now I'm changing. Remember, he's taking the place of what we've just seen. I'm changing. I'm not trying to flatten the curve. What am I doing? I don't know, but you have to stay. And this time put masks on, not over your mouth, over your eyes. You're not going to be able to see anything dirty. But I'll let you out of the church occasionally if you are an important person, if there's something I want you to do, if there's something that is essential. I will let you out, but you can't see. You will have to trust me. I will lead you to where you need to go. Imagine if that dragged out for 1 month, 2 months. And he says, okay, I'm going to let you out a little bit longer, and now you can go other places. But where are you going to go? To your grandmother's house, because she's lonely. To your mother's house, because she wants to fix you a meal. I'm going to let you go to friends and family that are going to build you up in the faith, and you don't have to stay 6 feet apart. I want you to embrace them in a holy embrace. And I want you to have good, holy conversations about what you learned when you were locked down for 2 straight weeks in the church. We're going to drive this contagion right out. Imagine if after 6 months, he's still not told you what the goal is, but you've been watching the people at the top of the graph. This number of people were going to hell. And because of the lockdowns and because of the masks over your eyes, because the essential workers are out there doing his work, it's going down and down and down. And there is no more reason to be locked down because you say hardly anybody is going to hell anymore. Isn't that enough? And then he says, no. No, I'm waiting until there is an inoculation. There has to be some kind of a shot you can get before you're finally able to get out. Why? Because the goal all along was to eradicate, get rid of it completely, the contagion of the devil. And when is that going to happen? At the last day, when the trumpet will blast and my Son will come in all of his glory. You've been prepared, and now is the time. The few that are still there, I wish they were with you. But I have given everybody every opportunity. I want to drive everybody away from the gates of hell. Every single one. But the time is now. Stage 3. We're opened up. The gates of heaven are open. The seals of the book of Revelation have been opened and the books read. The horsemen have gone throughout the world. And the trumpet is blasting. It is time for judgment. Can you imagine what your reaction would have been? You, who are here at Mass right now, if the church had told you, God said, lock yourself in the church for 2 weeks. Would you have done what the government told you to do? Lock yourself in your house for 2 weeks? Would you have followed any of the rules of God as I just described them? As all I was doing is describing the government rules. Would you have followed? And you are the holy ones. We rebel so often against God. And we do not rebel against evil when it's government evil, when it's society evil. We make excuses for the contagion of the devil, and yet we run in fear from a contagion that's going to affect only our body. Oh, if only we would realize the difference between these two contagions and the importance of driving out the demonic contagion rather than the virus contagion. If only we would put as much effort into trying to be holy as we have been recently into trying to be healthy. If only we would spend more time with God instead of away from him. What a difference it would make. Today, this prayer: grant thy people, we beseech thee, O Lord, to shun the defilements of the devil, or to withstand the temptations of the devil, or to avoid all the contagions of the devil. Grant us that grace, and with pure hearts to follow thee, the only God. Who is your God? And which contagion are you more afraid of? And which one have you done? Which things have you done in order to be healthy enough to withstand those contagions? I am not saying that you should go out and get the coronavirus. But I'm saying that any step you have made to avoid it, if you have not made the same steps to avoid hell, you are in trouble when Judgment Day comes. We need to get our priorities straight. There is only one God, and it is not the CDC. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen.